Right. Well, at this stage, it's starting to look like greed is infesting every corner of the gaming industry. You guys know that I've already railed against microtransactions in AAA games and some of the problems I think that brings. But what I want to look at today is the early access market and some of the early access games that, well, we've had problems with already and why I think this is going to continue. The games I want to talk about specifically, though I'm not singling them out, they're just examples, are Ark Survival Evolved, We Happy Few, and PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And the reason I want to talk about these is because, well, they're pretty high profile and there's been some pretty shitty activity within all of these games. If I take Ark Survival Evolved first, Ark Survival Evolved came out as an early access game. And then before it went gold, before it became a fully fledged release, it got the Scorched Earth expansion. So people who'd ponied up early for early access and in effect supported the development of the game were being expected to pony up even more money to buy an expansion pack for a game that still wasn't finished. And if that wasn't bad enough, then the early access price increased to $60. And I haven't checked what it was in UK pounds, but it would have been a similar sort of price. And the game still wasn't finished. And then, okay, finally, we got this year, it was released as a finished game. And I, again, used the term advisedly, because finished, well, that's debatable. If you go onto Steam, you will see that people aren't convinced that it's a finished game. It's currently listed on Steam at $49.99, and that's pounds. With, guess what? A $34.99 season pass. Did the early access people, you know, the ones who helped fund the game, did they get the season pass as part of their early access? Did they get it as a cut down price? Were they told ahead of time that they would need to shell out more money for a season pass? Yeah? No? No, of course they weren't. And then, if you go on Steam, it looks like the game is still unfinished. If I open that up now, we go Ark Survival Evolved, as you can see here. Let's scroll down and look at the comments. Oh, look. Overwhelmingly negative. And let's go to the third comment here. And what does the guy say? Someone called Lezolan. Excuse me if I mispronounce your name. It says, glad I picked this up when it was on sale for $15. What a joke. Asking $60 for a half-finished game and then charging another $50 for DLC. Fucking ridiculous. The worst part is this game had such promise. And that's one of the biggest problems here, isn't it? That these games offer promise. There's a chance of them being something special and they look good. So you pony up the money because you think, hey, this developer is worth supporting. I'll put the money in and hopefully we'll get something at the end of it. And if the developer is good and the developer makes the effort, then you will get a decent, finished, polished game at the end of it. Something that you can be proud of because you helped support. But if, as happened here, the game still hasn't been polished and the game still is full of bugs, and okay, fair enough. You know, let's be honest, Ark's not the first game to be released with bugs. The difference is that you've been asked to pony up early on for a game in the hope, and it is only hope, that you're going to get something at the end of it. Then we move on to We Happy Few. And We Happy Few had similar issues. It had a price hike to $38.24, and that's its current price on Steam for a game that still hasn't gone gold, and it's apparently going to go gold next year. But now they've partnered with Gearbox, and it's going to get the retail treatment. It's going to get a full retail release with a box and everything. And you guessed it, a season pass. And again, are the early access people going to get the season pass? No. What are they getting for their ponying up early? Are they getting anything much? Apart from a broken game that they've been able to play for a little while the developers work on it? No, what exactly have they got for the money they ponied up? What have they seen for the money they put out? Well, I would contend not a lot, frankly. And then we get to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. And bear in mind that Battlegrounds is one of the most popular games on Steam at the moment. In fact, I think currently it's the most popular game on Steam. And they said that they would not be putting out any DLC until the game went gold. And then what happened? We got to Gamescom and they released invitational crates. And these are loot boxes. And loot boxes, and let me be clear about this because some of you guys out there don't quite get this, loot boxes are fucking gambling. They are gambling. You put in money in the hope of getting something back, in the hope of getting a reward. That is the very definition of gambling. Be under no illusions. And if somebody wants to come and argue with me in the comments about it, feel free. But you're going to get short shrift from me because it's gambling and we are saving up problems for the future. But I'm going off topic slightly there. Look, the fact is that they went back on their word and they issued DLC before the game went gold. And okay, it was only for the Gamescom Invitational, but it was a trial run. Let's be honest, what they were saying in their heads, they didn't say it out loud to us because frankly we would have probably lost our temper finally over this one. They were saying, let's see just how far we can take these fucking idiots down the gambling rabbit hole. It shows a complete lack of respect for the gamer. And the reason they are showing no respect for us is because we go along with it. People put money up front for this game and now they're being treated like mugs. But it gets even worse. Because if you look into the figures of early access games, you will see that only 25% of the games on early access have as yet become full releases. And those we do have, well, as I've shown here, the developers are taking the piss. Quite a lot of the time, the developers are taking the piss. And yes, there are exceptions, I know. There are games that have come out on early access that haven't been like this. But what's to stop people from doing this? There's nothing. There's nothing to stop any of these games or any other games that are out there on early access following these practices, following the money and treating their backers, because that's what you are when you put money into early access. You're a backer. You are backing the production of the game. And to be treated in this way when you have backed the production of the game, well, I'm sorry, but it's taking the piss in the extreme. Early access should be about funding a game, not about fleecing the very people who want to support the development of the game. As I say, Ark has finally come out as a finished game, but it's still buggy. It's still unfinished if you really look at it. But what if it had never come out as a finished product? You know, I said this about the episodic nature of Hitman. I made a video about that. And I said, you know, people could pay up front. They could even buy the special edition, which was like £100. And what did they get for that? They got the first installment. But they didn't know what they were getting down the line. They were ponying up for a product. They didn't actually know what they were going to get. And I said then that I thought it was too big a risk and that we could see down the line that there would be games that would come out or that wouldn't come out because people had put the money up and then, I don't know, the developer goes bust, or they just do a runner with the money. And this is far more of an issue with early access because you have no guarantees whatsoever that you're going to see anything for the money you've put in, apart from obviously the early access code that you've already got. It may never get better. And we've seen something similar happen with Kickstarter, you know, with physical products. Some of the products coming out of that have been woeful if they've appeared at all. Seemingly there are no checks and balances here to stop developers and product designers taking people's money and just doing a runner. You could put out a complete mess of a game and what recourse does anybody have? They could ride off into the sunset with the money and, well, laugh all the way to the bank, couldn't they? Early access is potentially a great idea. And I support it as an idea. It's still potentially a great idea. But with high-profile early access developers seeing the dollar signs and showing no restraint when it comes to milking their backers and supporters, it's starting to look increasingly like an idea that needs, well, I don't know. I kind of back off when I hear the term regulation, but maybe it does. Maybe it needs some form of regulation to prevent exploitation of gamers. Maybe there needs to be some sort of refund policy if a company doesn't actually, produce. And maybe there needs to be something on Steam or some rules that say you are not allowed to put out DLC or season passes or loot boxes or any of this bullshit before the game goes gold. And maybe this should be something about, if you put money up early, you shouldn't have to pay these fucking season passes or whatever. I don't know. Why would anybody put money in and then expect to see a product for it? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But I think if you're putting money up front, you should see something for it. And you should get some reward for it. And you shouldn't be taken for a fucking mug. Really. The saddest thing in all this for me, though, is that if greed hadn't taken over, maybe these games would have turned out to be something special. Maybe they still might. Maybe they will continue with the development of Ark. Maybe We Happy Few will turn out to be a good game. Maybe PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds will eschew the loot boxes and actually just be a decent game without all this gambling bullshit. Yeah, I can live in hope, can't I? But look, that's what I think about it. I think there's a real problem with early access as it stands. But you guys might disagree with me. So, as ever, come and let me know in the comments. We'll have a discussion about it and, agree, disagree, whatever. And in the meantime, I'm going to have a cup of tea and go lie down in a dark room. And I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye.